Welcome back to Fast News, informing you about everything from the Cold War updates to the cold soup recipes. Unfortunately, we don't have chairs or tables due to budget cuts, but the show must go on. Fast News is the channel to flip to when you need news fast.
Our first story of the night takes us to the streets of D.C., where our #1 reporter, Sir Joseph, has gone undercover to reveal information about what the government is doing to stop communism. Take it away, sir.
Thanks, Lucy. I gotta say, things are pretty rough down here in Washington. Everyone's so paranoid that many suspected communists are being interviewed. The Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, has been gathering information for the government non-stop. Hollywood especially has been under a lot of scrutiny. Of course, we know that all this started after the end of World War II, and the Soviets became a serious world power. But things have definitely gone downhill since the Korean War broke out. People are beginning to call this war on communism the Red Scare, and everyone is freaked out due to the nuclear bomb threats from the Soviets. With me today is an expert who is choosing to remain anonymous to talk to us more on what President Truman is doing about this issue.
Today, our country faces a dire situation. Democracy is being threatened on all sides by communists and fascists. Our very way of life is endangered. The government doesn't know who is loyal to the United States and who isn't anymore. In response to this, President Truman passed Executive Order 9835, also known as the Loyalty Order, which mandates that all federal employees be analyzed to determine whether they were sufficiently loyal to the government. Hopefully, the Loyalty Order will give this country what it needs to get back on its feet and face the Soviets.
Thank you, anonymous source. Before we go back to the studio, let's hear some other opinions on the president's strong stance against communism. Hello, I'm with Fast News. What do you think the consequences of the Red Scare will be?
Well, I think it will lead to an expansion of personal liberties, since so many are losing the right to private lives right now. It has already led to a conservative political atmosphere, but this witch hunt for communists has to end sometime.
Oh, hey.
What do you think the danger of communism poses to the United States?
Well, it sure is spreading. The communists have gone to Korea. Hurrah! I mean, it's terrible. All the countries falling to communism, creating the effect of the domino theory. Just awful. Soon enough, the US will be red instead of red, white, and blue.
Well, that was an interesting encounter. Back to Lucy and Nicole in the studio.
And we're back. We have some vital information about the Soviet spy cases. In Britain, Soviet spies known as the Cambridge Five got high up in the government, and when they were found out, 2 of them escaped.
That was not a good day, mate.
These spies were getting all the dirt from the US and Britain and then spilling the tea to the Soviets. There were many spies on the loose, so if you see this person, call 1-800-SPY-CASE now. Now let's go back to our second reporter, Thami, to tell us about the recent reports of Soviet spies and what our government is doing to counter this epidemic.
Thanks, Lucy. Right now, the government is working towards expelling all communists from the government to decrease the possible number of spies in the capital. There was even a scientist, Oppenheimer, who helped develop the atomic bomb, but then he was denied access to classified information because of his suspected ties to communism. But there still seems to be Soviets at every turn. Let's talk to an expert to find out more.
Thanks, Tommy. I'm glad to be here with Fast News. As we just saw with this recent Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, the leaders of a known Soviet spy ring, the SU's spy web is much bigger than originally anticipated. This has led to a heightened paranoia among government and citizens alike. There has also been many new intelligence agencies, such as our own CIA and intelligence agencies in other countries, including Britain and the Soviet Union.
Thank you, expert. Now let's take to the streets and get some opinions. What do you think about how the Julius and Ethel Rosenberg case was handled?
I don't think it was handled well. Sure, they were spies and they deserve justice, but not this harshly. They should have just been sent to jail, not the electric chair. People who did worse than them weren't even killed for it.
I say they got what they deserve. Getting caught like that, no spy that bad, should be allowed to live. I mean, justice. Down with communism. Communism!
Thami?
We seem to have lost connection to our correspondent. Well, now we have a riveting story on how to make it to Hollywood.